Good morning from the Alpine Lakes Wilderness. This is Steve with my hiking buddy Gino.
Hello.
As you saw earlier by the sign I filmed, we're on the trail to Talapus and Ollalie lakes. And since we were up here, I think a year ago about this time, there's been a big massive change. We're just a little ways out of the parking lot, but from the parking lot to here, check this out. This whole area, this whole hillside has been logged. And for years we've been coming up here and have seen a bunch of tagging on these trees along the trail and wondered what was going on. Well, now we got our answer. The parking lot, it's quite a different scene down there, isn't it, Gino?
Yeah.
But anyway, this is still one of our favorite hikes up to the lakes. Hope it's one of yours too. We've filmed it before, but we're going to film it again. And as always, thanks for hiking with us. That was kind of a quick opener, but I wanted to mention we started early today at 5:30. We're anticipating a real warm day, so we wanted to beat the heat. And also, this is a very popular trail, so we wanted to beat the crowd. So there's already 4 cars in the lot ahead of us when we got there at 5:30, all overnighters based on how much dust is on the cars. So we will check out both lakes. Very popular backpacking overnight destination, close to Seattle, pretty easy trail. And we're probably about halfway up to Talapus. I could hear the creek down below us roaring from snow melt. So we'll check in when we get up to the confluence of Talapus and Ollalie creeks, one of our favorite vantage points along this trail. We'll check in a bit. One thing I wanted to mention is we've had a very dry spring and a very warm May and so far early June, and the trail looks like it. It is very dry up here. We were just talking, usually by Talapus Lake, it's real muddy. Going to be interested to see if it's like that today. Both lakes are melted out, which I think for us is going to be a first. We've seen Talapus melted out, but I don't think we've seen Ollalie melted out this early in the year. So temp this morning, we forgot to check before we left the car, but it's got to be
57.
57, Gino. It feels warmer. Whew.
Well, at least there's a breeze up here.
Yeah, working up a sweat here as we climb up to the lake. So we're getting close to lake number 1, Talapus. We'll check in, like I said, where the 2 creeks meet. We could hear Talapus Creek roaring down below us, so it should be some good water flow up there. We'll check in a bit. So here we are at the confluence. This is Talapus Creek flowing down this way out of Talapus Lake. And coming off this other hillside up here is Ollalie Creek, coming out of Ollalie Lake. They meet right here and cascade down the hillside. And I got to tell you, after I filmed that last segment, we got into this kind of valley here, or ridge, right up above the creek, and the temperatures dropped about 10 degrees. It's like being next to a refrigerator. It's very refreshing after how warm it was starting out. Real nice here walking next to the creek, but a little bit of a breeze blowing, keeping the bugs away, and a lot of water flowing, which we expected. Well, we're about 2-3 minutes out from Talapus and one of our favorite bridges up here. We'll check in there and film that bridge. So this part of the trail is usually real muddy, and as you can see, it's bone dry. So, okay, so Talapus Lake. There's some campsites over here going this way, on this side of the lake. We're going to cross our favorite bridge here and go to the other side of the lake. Stop here and take a look at Talapus Creek. Yeah, this area is usually real muddy, and look how dry it is. Wow. Gino corrected me back there. I said being by that creek, it was like opening the refrigerator door, and Gino added,
Like popping open a cold beer.
Popping open a cold beer. I hear you, buddy. Boy, look how dry this is, Gino. Yeah, very dry. Okay, we'll check in down by the lake, and we'll see if anybody's camping up here. My botanical friend has pointed these out. Gino, they are?
Skunk cabbage.
Skunk cabbage. And right over here, a small patch of snow. Huh. Okay, onward to the lake. The calm, smooth waters of Talapus Lake. Took us 50 minutes to get up here at 6:20. And up on the hillside to our right, which is where the trail goes, sounds like a dog barking up there, so. Boy, there's no snow on the surrounding hills, is there? Pretty smooth, my friend. Is that a dog up there?
That's what I thought I heard a
Yeah,
dog.
yeah. Well, Gino thinks it's a dog too, so that's better than Bigfoot. So we'll take a short break here, and then we're going to go up the trail on the right, and we'll head back almost to the end of the lake, and then make a right turn, switch back up the hillside, and we kind of head back over in this direction to Ollalie Lake. So we'll check in along the way. So we're on the traverse back to Ollalie Lake. Real nice trail here, very dry like Gino said. And we've met two backpackers so far. We met the first guy just as we crested the ridge above Talapus. He was with his dog, so we did hear a dog barking. And he camped last night up at Rainbow Lake, which is quite a ways away from here. And he said there's still quite a bit of snow up there. And then right after we saw him and talked to him, a second guy came down, and he camped last night up here at Ollalie. He said there's still a couple people camped up there, and no snow, but it's real funny the difference between snow and no snow. The first guy with all the snow at Rainbow said there were no bugs, and then this guy here said there was quite a few bugs last night at Ollalie. So we're almost done with this long traverse, and then we're going to make a hard right and head back to a trail junction, which we were just discussing is always muddy. We'll see if it is today. We'll check in up there. Kind of a little creek here. We've met our third backpacker of the morning coming out of Ollalie. Young woman, and real interesting contrast. I was telling Gino, the guy we saw that camped here said the bugs were bad. She said they weren't bad at all, so we'll see when we get there. Boy, it's gotten real still and warmed up again, so we're almost at the big junction, then a little short ways over to Ollalie. So here's the intersection I was talking about. To the left to Pratt Lake, to the right to Talapus, behind me to Ollalie. And this is usually a big mud bog. Say that fast 3 times. And you could see it's bone dry like everything else today. So boy, didn't think I'd ever see this. There's also over here to my right, as we head toward Ollalie Lake, there's quite a bit of snow off there. You could see it in the trees, and I can hear Ollalie Creek flowing over there. So it's a little before 7 a.m. We're about 5 minutes out from the lake. We'll check in there. It's 7:02 and we made it to Ollalie Lake. Calm and smooth like Talapus. A little bit of snow on the far shore as I swing around here. And then up above us is Pratt Mountain. Sun's behind it. Didn't see any tents. This lake has quite a few spots to camp, and we didn't see any. According to the last backpacker we saw, she said there's still a couple people up here, so we were looking for a couple tents, haven't seen them yet. So as we usually do, we're going to take a break, refuel, recharge, and we'll check in a bit. Sun's about ready to pop over Pratt Mountain here. We've enjoyed our stay at Ollalie Lake. We've been looking for the 2 remaining tents that the person we just saw said were up here, but they must be back in the woods away from the lakeshore because we don't see them. The bugs are starting to buzz around us, so we're going to cut it short and start our journey back to the cars. We'll check in along the way. So we took a little detour on the way back, a little exploration. This is Ollalie Creek, and this is a fairly new bridge they've put in over it in the last couple of years. And if we were to continue this way, we could head up to Pratt Lake and also Granite Mountain. But we wanted to come down and see this bridge and Ollalie Creek. Roaring pretty good this morning. We're approaching Talapus Lake. You can see it down there between the trees, the reflection. We were commenting, it's been real interesting here on the trail down. When you're by water, but when you're by the creeks, there's a nice breeze and it's very cool. It's like refrigerated, like I said earlier, and then you get away from the water and the creek and the air is just dead calm and it warms up 10, 12 degrees. So been real interesting, but we haven't seen anybody on the way down from Ollalie. So we're kind of interested to see. It's still pretty early in the morning, before 8 o'clock. We'll see how many people we see from Talapus down to the parking lot. We're guessing maybe 10. So we'll check in a couple times along the way. Back where we started at Talapus Lake, still dead calm, smooth. A really pretty morning. A lot of blue sky up above us here. And look at that reflection. Here's the bridge over Talapus Creek. Let's go. It's about 20 to 9. We're approaching the parking lot. We're a few minutes out. I can actually see the parking lot from here with that clear cut, and there is another hiker coming up the trail, which will be our first hiker that we've seen since we saw all those backpackers. So what a great hike, huh? Always one of our favorites up here in the Alpine Lakes Wilderness, early season. A lot of difference from last year. The mud is gone, the snow is gone. But a beautiful sunny day, and it's quite warm here away from the water, as we mentioned earlier. But next week, I think we're going to be down at Mount Rainier, and I think we're going to go up to Crystal Lakes. The upper lake's still pretty snow-covered, as is the trail approaching it, but I think with this warm weather we're having this week, it's going to melt things out pretty good. So, as always, just check the channel, Hiking Man Steve, and like we say all the time, hope you enjoy this one. Thanks for hiking with us. See you next time.